All right, we are live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Nipaa TV show. I'm your host, Nipaa TV. That's me. And we're going to be castmating some StarCraft 2. It's been a while. The mood struck. I really wanted to just commentate, go back to my roots with StarCraft 2. So let's do it. I found a series, ELAZER versus HARSTEM. And we should be able to knock all three out in a decent amount of time. So let's do it. So the first map is going to be on White Rabbit Ladder Edition. I'm not familiar with these two players, honestly. I haven't really been keeping track of the pro scene in StarCraft 2 lately. But HARSTEM looks like a Protoss player, and we got a Zerg player. I did look up a PVZ in particular. Gosh darn, that's louder than I wanted it to be. There we go. Okay, good luck. I don't need luck, nerd. So we got ELAZER in the top right of the map as the red Zerg. Bottom left, we have HARSTEM as our blue Protoss. Last time I recall, obviously I think Protoss is going to go for a fast expansion. So we do see a pylon down here at the ramp. Probably build some structures right here to do a little bit of wall off so that Zerg doesn't do any tomfoolery with Zerglings and whatnot. HARSTEM actually opting for a scout pretty early. This might be normal actually, but he is going to try to delay some mining, and ELAZER is not wasting any time at all. They're just going to go straight for the third base. This, of course, being the natural right here. ELAZER will probably grab that at some point as well. Try to get an economic lead against their Protoss opponent. We have a gateway going down. Generally, as a Zerg player, you want to be one base ahead of your opponent at all times. Unless it's ZVZ, that's a little bit different. But in other matchups, since you have cheaper resources with your structures, you might as well capitalize on those structures being cheaper, so you could get more economy, and then that's more units, that's more production. That is just the name of the game for Zerg. We do actually have a Nexus going down, so we got Standardito, Gateway, Nexus after Gateway, then Cyber Core. Will we see air? I think we might. We only have one gas geyser being assimilated by a Protoss. We are going to get a second gas going here as well. We'll see what ends up happening. Taking a look at the map, we have a lot of open pathways for Zerg to run around. A lot of choke points, too, for Protoss to capitalize on. So Zerg will definitely have to be very careful when it comes to attacking and where to attack and when to attack and decision-making and all of that. I am actually kind of flabbergasted because we're hearing the Terran music, and it's a PVZ. The funny thing about Spectator is we'll just get some random tracks from even a race that's not even in the game. So that's pretty cool. We got Metabolic Boost being researched to give those Zerglings some speed boosties. This probe, the scouting probe, is probably going to get killed. No, ELAZER actually opting to retreat, not fully engaged with that. So that probe does live to mine another day. We got some Adepts, actually aggressive Adepts. Try to do some scouting, maybe some drone kills. We actually have a Twilight Council. That's pretty early. That's actually off almost two gateways now. So will we see Dark Templar? Will we see Blink Harass? Will we see Adept upgrade that gives them extra attack speed? Who knows? Only time will tell. Adept did try to psionic transfer into the main base, canceling before completing that. Common strategy by Protoss players in this game. And yes, actually, we do see Resonating Glaives. That is the attack speed of the Adepts, so probably going to see a lot of Adepts being produced at some point. I realize my head is blocking the mini-map, unfortunately, and I don't feel like changing it. I'm sorry. It's going right there. We have some creep spread. Going to link up the natural base in the third expansion of ELAZER. And we're not seeing a lot of tech from Malaysia right now because they are focusing primarily on that economy as we're noticing as well, pulling all the resources into drones. We know Protoss isn't really going to engage that much. Has adepts, 2 gateways. We actually see a third base coming down as well. Some adepts to defend that. Laser sees that third base. Is like, oh, wow. That is an aggressive third expansion. Chrono boosting that resonating glaives. Try to get out faster, obviously. And we have some adepts phasing in. Looks like we're about to commence the assault. At the same time, Zergling's gonna try to commence the assault themselves. There's one adept to complete that wall off. Will thwart some of these, but not on hold position. And the Zerglings actually might be able to get through, but ELAZER wasn't paying attention. At the same time, we do have an engagement at the natural base of ELAZER. Both players microing at 2 places at once. Incredible control at the pro level here. We do see a robotic facility coming down. So 2 gateway robo. 4. We have 4 gateways. We have 4 gateways production and a 4th base actually going down for ELAZER on the left side here. As we can see, some adepts trying to psionic transfer in, but most of the time it is bait. Lots of Zerglings to defend. At a sentry going down, we have an hallucinated Phoenix to try to get some information. Unless you're trying to sneak in there, try to do some damage, but it's gonna be a little tough. So we got a lot of forces to try to defend in HARSTEM. Just trying to create some presence on the field, trying to get some map control by moving out, maybe even denying other bases that could potentially be plopped down like here. But the 4th base for ELAZER is almost down, and we do see a lair in production, and we actually have some roaches. So we're gonna see some Zergling Roach combinations, and some drones are going down. We got 2, 3 drones being destroyed. A lot of the adepts are actually getting killed. A nice surround on ELAZER's part, and actually killing all of those adepts. That's pretty expensive. That is a win there. 3 drones for, gosh, at least 8 adepts. That is in the favor of our Zerg player here. I was about to say adventurer like I was playing D&D. I typically do that. Our adventurers, our heroes. But this is not D&D. Clearly. We have this Phoenix going in, trying to take a look. We have a lot of queens here. Lots of energy to poop down some creep tumors. And as well as larva injects. We see some Nuitized Carapace upgrade. I believe that is the speed upgrade. Yeah, the movement speed upgrade for the Overlords. And then Glial Reconstitution to give those roaches some speed boost as well. Boost, yo, we have a pretty substantial roach force here. Kind of interesting to see this combination in PvZ. I don't really see roaches that much anymore. But they are able to soak up a lot of damage. But we do have Immortals. Keep in mind, Immortals do pretty damn good versus roaches, so that'll be an interesting fight if they do decide to do so. And we actually have some queens being put into the Overlord. That's a little strange. I haven't seen that. Are we gonna see a queen drop? It's looking like it. That is interesting. Maybe the queens are being used to get some transfuses on the roaches to try to give them some sustain, just like Overlords, or maybe even on the Ravagers here. But these Ravagers are actually really caught out. Gonna have to force the queens to pop down. Actually kills one of the Ravagers. And the queens have a lot of energy, and this is actually super smart, plopping down a creep tumor to try to get some creep spread. This is actually really brilliant. I love this. Zealots do have charge. I didn't notice that. We have 1 Archon, some decent force fields on the ramp, and some excellent micro with the Overlords, but is gonna have to force ELAZER to pull back a little bit. And we actually have another engagement down here that I missed. 2 fights, 2-pronged attacks going out at once. This is a scary force for HARSTEM to deal with. Some caustic bile, what is it called? Caustic biles going down as well. 2 fights at the same time, but HARSTEM looks like kind of holding on, at least at the 3rd base. Definitely at the natural base is facing more trouble. But Protoss forces are pretty strong, and those Immortals are busted down for sure, breaking the force. Those queens doing some transfuses on their own forces, try to sustain them a little bit longer, but HARSTEM holding on. What are the upgrades at? We have +1 weapons, +2 on the way as well, versus no upgrades at all for ELAZER. Definitely playing a factor in that fight for sure. Those sneaky upgrades, I did not see that. We have some High Templars. These High Templars obviously have Storm. This is some Brood War. I was thinking you had to research it. It's been a while. And we actually have a Warp Prism coming out on the field, and we have a few Stalkers in the mix too, just to kind of keep things interesting. Queens are being dropped on the right side. Was there an engagement here? I think so. We got a Zealot going in, trying to do some damage. There is nothing to defend these drones. This is free. These are some free kills. Forcing ELAZER to have to pull back a little bit. We still have more Overlords on the field. They're being used. It's really cool to see some Creep Tumors plopping down on the potential 4th base for our Protoss player. And some Zealots in the Warp Prism going straight, looks like. Let's take a look at the route. It's going to go straight for the main base, but ELAZER will surely see it at some point. A little bit of a Zealot run by on the top side of the map, but are going to be quickly thwarted by what looks like ELAZER's main force. But that's kind of interesting because HARSTEM is going in with these Warp Prisms. I'm going in. I'm going in. Here he goes. Let's see what he does. We got nice Overlord placements here to detect any of this. Main force of ELAZER's in the middle of the field, completely out of position. Does see the Warp Prism. Will there be enough forces to try to stop this? We have a Warp in going in as well. Queen does get killed, and the Warp Prism does go out. Only one Queen to try to stop that force. ELAZER is being forced to pull back, but we have a little pocket of roaches coming in on the natural expansion here to try to do some damage, but HARSTEM clearly has enough forces to stop this in a pretty heavy immortal count. I think that's the proper response versus roaches. We have a 5th base going down for ELAZER and a pretty substantially easy to defend position here in the middle of the map. This definitely gets a little more tricky because you're kind of exposed here, I would feel. Creep Tumors getting cleaned up. Nice observer on the field, and ELAZER's going to take this time to try to do maybe some kind of a sandwich. We do have Side Storms, so let's see what happens. Side Storms will go down. Pretty decent Side Storms, does quite a bit of damage. ELAZER going in, going to try to converge on these forces. We do still have some sentries in the mix, I believe, to do some force fields. ELAZER not fully committing there. That is smart. We do have some Hydras in the mix to try to do some DPS. We actually have more Zealot run-bys on the left side as well as the right side in the main base. And we do see Groove's muscular augments being researched to increase the movement speed of this Hydra, and a huge force of ELAZER going down on the 3rd base of HARSTEM, going to do quite a bit of damage, but that shield battery and those photon cannons are going to buy quite enough time for HARSTEM to get back. Archon's going to get domed there, and it does. This Warp Prism continuing to be super annoying. Would like to see some static defense probably from ELAZER right now, but he does have a lot on his plate, I believe. Tons of Zealots just got warped in. What is the gateway count? Oops. What is the build structures? T, structure, sold. We have 10 gateways so far for HARSTEM, so quite a bit of production. Hydra's on the left side of the map. Terran music being played. On cue. Perfect. Okay, we have that little pocket of Zealots kind of going on the left side to try to go to the natural base, potentially a distraction. And meanwhile, on the main base, discovering that Zerg is going to get a hive. Some Hydras getting picked off as they're being birthed, unfortunately. That's a terrible way to be welcome to the world. And at the same time, the 5th base of ELAZER does get destroyed. Pretty decent sized storms, good force fields on that Zerg. A very tough force to try to stop. HARSTEM has a huge force, and these are upgraded too. These are +2 weapons, and these Hydras are getting completely cut off. Not killing them, that is good. Those Hydralisks are pretty expensive, so losing those would be quite detrimental, and ELAZER being forced to split their forces quite a lot. English hard does kill that Warp Prism finally, but at the same time we have that huge Hydra ball going to the left side of the map, try to take care of the natural expansion. ELAZER knows that HARSTEM has his main force over here, taking the opportunity to do some kind of a counterattack. Gonna kill that shield battery, some Zealots and Immortals to try to defend it. And at the same time, nice side storms on the Hydras, pulling back, fighting on creep, very smart. ELAZER's playing very patient right now. At the same time, HARSTEM and ELAZER, it looks like picking off this Hydra force. Are we transitioning into full Hydras? We have the lunge ability. Interesting. That's new to me. Hydras, I guess, have a new ability, which makes them have a temporary speed boost, it looks like. Let me actually see. Yeah, lunge. A lunge's fork, greatly increasing movement speed for a long time. We got some good force fields on this main force. Interesting background here. Markon's trying to cut these forces off, and the Laser does opt out. First game goes to HARSTEM. Playing that quite well. Playing that quite well indeed. Winter Madness. Here we go. Laser versus HARSTEM. Let's see what happens. These are fun new maps. I've never seen these before. So let's take a look. Boo, boo, boo. All right, so oh, cool. It's a snow map. That's sick. You know, this map really looks similar to, gosh, I forgot that one map. It was a community-created map, but it was always the coolest one to me. It was like a crater map or whatever, but it has the same vibe. Anyways, I digress. Laser top left of the map. As the red Zerg again. Bottom right, blue, Protoss, HARSTEM. Let's see if Laser can learn from the last game. Try to figure out what they need to do to win, because HARSTEM was playing quite well with those double-pronged attacks. Laser trying to do the same thing. Little difficult, I imagine, especially when things are happening, as it were. We got a hatch first from a Laser. Seems pretty simple, and then we also have the same wall-off from HARSTEM going down as well. We actually have gas first from HARSTEM. That is interesting. We'll see what happens. So is this a pump fake out? Are we going to see something aggressive? We all saw the time on the video. It was relatively short, around 8 minutes. So most likely we'll see an aggressive strategy from one of these players, or it's just going to be a really fast game. Something's going to happen for sure. But we do actually see a Nexus, so it can't be that aggressive. It definitely isn't an all-in. Looks like some kind of a timing push, as it were. We'll see what happens. HARSTEM moving out with the probe. Trying to see what happens. Trying to see what's what. What is Zerg cooking up in their little Fortress of Solitude over here? Spawning pool is almost done. We do have enough gas for... we don't actually. I'm sorry. I lied to you. We're almost there, but we're not quite there. But, you know... Obviously, once we hit 100 gas for Zerg, we'll see that metabolic boost, and we'll probably pull guys off gas since we don't really need them. We don't really need those drones for gas, so you might as well divert what she's doing. We have 100, and there's metabolic boost. Beautiful. Zerglings without speed are essentially naked, so we need to make sure they have some clothes. Overlord moving out, trying to... scout out. We actually have the Protoss music now, which is super fitting now, because that's actually in the game. Double Queens being pumped out. They just got pumped out. A lot of Zerg players tend to sync them up. So once they get 300 minerals, they go QQ, and then both those queens pop out at the same time. Reason why that's important is that you could time your larva injects all at the same time instead of, oh, I made my queen 30 seconds later, which means I'm going to have to do a larva inject 30 seconds after that. Instead, you do larva inject, and then you're done, and you move on to other production structures and stuff. So it's pretty efficient. So we'll see how that works. Of course, you can stack larva injects too, as well. In Legacy of the Void, we have a pretty fast third from HARSTEM. Actually, we do have an Oracle. So as suspected, with that gas first and 2 and 2 for total in gas, we are getting Oracles going Stargate. Zerglings kind of popping up on the map. We see the third base, like, oh shoot, I see you. We have an adept psionic shifting transferring over there. Does complete it, actually. You see an Overlord is pretty low. It's probably going to get sacked. And I heard an Oracle. Where are you, Mr. Oracle? I just saw him. Where is he? Where is he? There he is. He's right in front of my face. She, rather. I'm sorry. Okay. We do have that Twilight Council going down as well as 2 gateways. Oracle is moving out. Does Zerg see it? I don't think... Does it? Barely doesn't see it. That's crazy. Unless... He sees it. I don't know why HARSTEM is choosing... There we go. It does send the Oracle over. I don't think, excuse me, I don't think ELAZER sees it, but he does suspect something has the Spore Crawler down. I think he did see, doesn't see it, but he is suspecting it. Killing a couple of drones. Oh, actually, just one, I think. Plopping down that other one for Spore Crawler, canceling. Does lose money still for canceling, but better than losing that drone. Every drone matters at this level. Have a Zergling run by. Shield battery, 2 adepts to defend. Natural expansion. We have a stalker, interestingly enough, trying to hold position over there. We have resonating glaives for our adepts. HARSTEM doing an excellent job of defending. ELAZER not being able to do much besides get these probes here. That's actually pretty huge. 4 probes for a few Zerglings. That's pretty worth it. Oh, not great control with those Zerglings, but at the same time, baiting. Okay, I see. So he baited out the adept psionic transfers so that then he can move right. Okay, cool. That's pretty sick. Nice. Oracle picking off some Zerglings for free, unfortunately. And we do have a large force. For HARSTEM moving out, we have the Oracle adept combo. We have some roaches on the field. Opting to go roaches again. Psionic transferring into the natural expansion. Ballsy move. Oracle is in the field, but that Spore Crawler doing some nice work on it. Roaches to defend. Nice control from ELAZER. Some queens picking off the Adept Force, doing a ton of damage. And HARSTEM not really doing much and actually excellently putting their Zerglings there to catch these Adepts. That was almost perfect. That's crazy. Overlord's still chilling over there. Oracle building up energy pretty fast, actually. That's kind of crazy. It's 25 energy for... Oh, 2 energy per second that it's used. 25 to activate and then 2 per second. So, but yeah, it's still, that's a large mana regen for sure. Zerglings, Roach Ravager pushing out, nothing to defend besides the Spore Crawler. See how much damage that HARSTEM could do. Does he have enough force to stop? Only Stalkers to stop the Roaches. Better than nothing for sure, since they have bonus damage to armor. But here we go. We have some Roach Ravager trying to take care of those force fields. Does destroy 1. Oracle being forced to put back. We do have an Immortal on the field. More Ravagers being produced to try to stop this Protoss force. Here we go. We got a nice round. Good force fields. ELAZER has a pretty substantial force. Nice mine. Actually baited out by 1 Zergling. That was actually well placed. We have Photon Cannon immediately gets domed, and so does this one here. We have Queens on the field to do some transfuses to sustain these roaches. It's looking pretty hairy for HARSTEM. The main force is just getting cleaned off like back ribs. Yeah, I don't know what that means, but okay. Killing off probes. Third base is kind of destitute. Only saving grace is this Immortal. We have the barrier being put down to try to stop them. The roach count is simply incredibly high. And we have more reinforcements from ELAZER. Simply too many forces to deal with. HARSTEM's probably going to bow out at some point. There he goes. GG. Game goes to ELAZER. And the final game, let's see who wins this series. Could be anyone. Let's take a look. On the map, 10,000 feet. Ladder Edition, that's an interesting name. Here we go. 10,000 feet Ladder Edition. Okay. Let's see what we got, huh? Top left of the map, we have our red Zerg ELAZER. Top bottom right, we have blue Protoss HARSTEM. This is a cool map. I like the terrain on the ground. This is a nice deserty map. We have some grass on the ground too. Kind of interesting. A little bit of a bomb here, a little crater. That's cool. And an interesting natural expansion for our players too. This map seems like it'll be pretty good for Mutalisks too. If Zerg ends up going that route, you have some nice airspace here to pick off here, and then retreat in the corner. and fly out. I think we're going to see air again from HARSTEM too because of that factor. Hash first again from ELAZER. And we do see gas. I think it's after Gateway though. Doesn't necessarily rule out air. But last game we did see gas before Gateway. So that'll be interesting. Overlord slowly floating across the map. We do have 2 in the gas geyser. I think we are going to see air again. Usually we see 2 and 2. 2 gas in each simulator. For Protoss players when they do the Stargate, I think it's just to get 4 guys in gas. Just to get enough for an Oracle. So a little bit more than 3. It's also efficient too because, you know, I don't know. I guess it might just take longer for 3. I'm not sure. I could be wrong. I actually don't know the science of the statistics behind that. I just noticed that players do that all the time. Second gas geyser, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to be Stargate. Pretty sure ELAZER's going to try to expect, is going to not try to expect that. They'll probably expect that. So yeah, let's take a look at the map a little bit more. We actually, interestingly enough, we have some mineral patches on this ramp at the natural expansion. So if players were to try to mine at least a few of them, and oh yeah, only 5 it looks like, to try to get this third base. I find it interesting that they're using mineral patches instead of rocks like they used to. Rocks have way more HP, obviously, compared to mineral fields where you could just mine, it looks like just 1. 5, I think, is 1 at a time for a probe. You could just mine this really quick and open up a path. And at the same time, it blocks other shenanigans and stuff. That's pretty sick. Kind of interesting how this game has changed over time. Third base going down for ELAZER. Stargate, there it is. Plop down. We got Warp Gate being researched. Yes, sirree, Bob. Fourth base seems like it would be kind of tough to take. And also, an important thing to note, ELAZER's taking this third base as opposed to this one. Makes sense, because you have to get through this mineral patch here. I just think the fourth base, this is a good fourth base to take. But you're kind of exposed. And Colossi could actually, if the HARSTEM ends up going Colossi, can actually end up, I think this is enough space to shoot some of your probes there. So this is definitely exposed. This is definitely, it seems like it's safer to defend for fourth base. This one's just super risky. Obviously, as the game progresses, it gets tougher and tougher to get bases. But we actually, speaking of bases, we have a third from HARSTEM going down. Stalker hold positioning, perfect timing actually. No Zerglings are going to be able to get in. Oracle is revealed. ELAZER getting some spores, putting spores at both bases right now. Probably at the third as well. But we do have 2 queens to thwart this Oracle. Maybe holding off on that. There are the 2 queens trying to thwart it. But there is no spore at the third base in production. 1 drone does go down. A terrible loss. Queen's thwarting this attack. It's doing a pretty good job. Third base is almost done for HARSTEM. Interestingly enough, putting the pylon in the mineral field. It's going to really block some movement from the probes. I'm not sure why that is there instead of outside of here. Maybe to put photon cannons on the outside. I couldn't tell you. Do have, again, a Roachborn going down for ELAZER. Really loving those roaches. Or it's standard Ito for PvZ. Who knows? Shall see. Shall see. Forge going down. HARSTEM opting for those upgrades once again. Blink almost halfway research. Not going for psionic, the augments, the resonating glaive. Sorry. Yeah, not really going for adepts too much in this game. Changing it up. That's kind of fun to see. Shield battery going down. We have some pylons as well. Going super stalker heavy. We're going to see some early stalker aggression. Be interesting to see what we transition to afterwards. Oracle still being annoying, killing 2 drones in the process. Yeah, a lot of stalkers. Maybe there's a lot more mobility on this map. And wow, going for the 5th base, ELAZER. Spicy stuff. This is kind of an exposed 5th base too. A little bit of an engagement in the middle of the map. Blink isn't quite done yet, but I don't think any stalkers really die. Okay, I guess one did die. We have 3 queens and zerglings are the only things to defend. We have Oracle in the fight as well. No energy for Pulsar Beam. Blink is done, so we will see some Blink Stalker Micro, but this is a pretty heavy zergling count. Transfuses on the queens. Hearthstone not being able to do too much damage there. Some zerglings getting picked off. That's pretty much it. We see a Templar Archives going down. So we'll most likely see some, obviously some High Templars. Maybe some Archons in the mix. And we have +1 almost halfway complete for HARSTEM. And at the same time, ELAZER's going for upgrades too with his missile attacks. Learning from the first game with the macro game, as we're seeing here. This is definitely going to be a long game. Some zerglings being revealed by the Oracle. 2 probes actually getting destroyed, and photon cannons being strategically placed in some pretty cool positions here. One right here to try to thwart anything really, and then one right here. 2 actually, my mistake. Oracle trying to do more damage. Does a revelation on the 3rd base of ELAZER or 4th base, what have you. Pretty substantial zergling count, trying to do a run by. HARSTEM not opting to get a 4th at this time. He knows that there are a lot of forces to try to stop him. HARSTEM has an Immortal and some Templar. Oh, I'm sorry. You actually do have to research Psionic Storm. He just already researched it before. Good to go. HARSTEM trying to get this 4th base, but these zerglings are right here, and actually we see kind of a double-pronged attack. Some stalkers getting picked off by the Hydras. At the same time, we see zerglings on the left side. Denying that 4th base is going to cost HARSTEM quite a bit. 2 Immortals in the mix. Now we have some Zealots being repositioned to the left to try to stop these zerglings. ELAZER going for a double-pronged attack. Dep getting picked off. Main force, an aggressive blink. Doesn't kill that Hydra, but does move in. At the same time, 4th base might have to get canceled again, and it does. That is not looking good. Nice Ice Storms on the zerglings. Pretty decent on the Hydra, but those zerglings do get picked off completely. Some Hydras getting picked up as well. Double-pronged attack from ELAZER. Things are happening, but smartly, HARSTEM having these photon cannons on the left side, but they are getting picked off by Hydras. Aggressive blink to try to stop the damage being done, but at the same time, we have another engagement on the right side. Nice Ice Storm on this force. We have some zerglings that did get stasis mine, but they're about to be free, and they will wreak more damage. That's not the phrase, but they'll wreak havoc and cause more damage. That's the right phrase. And we got +2 almost complete for missile attacks for ELAZER. More forces on the field. The economy for ELAZER has to be strong right now. We're getting some nice income. 3,000, about 3,000 minerals, 1,000 lead on Protoss opponent here. Not getting that 4th base is costing HARSTEM quite a bit. But the main force is getting picked off. Aggressive blink, but right into the zerglings. That's no good. And these Immortals are kind of exposed. We do have High Templar in the mix. We're definitely going to need to see some Psi Storms, and they do go down out of energy. The High Templars are out of energy, being morphed into Archons. Zealot soaking up damage, doing damage. Aggressive blink with the last Stalker. This is crazy to see. But we have more forces on the way. ELAZER really capitalizing, and some Immortals actually getting completely destroyed as well. These are some expensive units to lose. It's not looking great for HARSTEM. He is still in this game, but dang, losing that 4th base multiple times is costing him, as well as his main forces. Just doing work on the 3rd base here. HARSTEM trying to hold on. We do see a decent amount of minerals for HARSTEM. We could get some photon cannons. We do see one. There we go. That's what I like to see. But look at the map on the here. I'll move to the side. You can see on just the streak of red here, the forces of ELAZER rendezvousing on the left side. Here we go. We have some Immortals in the mix. Have an Archon, High Templar. Here we go. Let's see what happens. Oh dear. We have a force field being plopped down. These Immortals are going to get destroyed. This is really not looking good for HARSTEM. We might actually see maybe a GG at some point. This is just not looking good, but I think HARSTEM is going to stick to it. Pulling the boys to try to do some damage. And yeah, there he goes. And it looks like our boy ELAZER wins the series. And that was a good series to watch. StarCraft 2 has certainly changed. Cool thing about today I saw was definitely the Queens and the Overlords being picked up. That was a cool strategy with the Roach Ravager combo. Instead of waiting to push your creep spread all the way to the base, why wait? Skip, poop out creep, plop down a tumor. You get some heals from the transfuses of the Queens, and you could also have the advantage of the speed increase of the creep. So that was cool to see. Protoss didn't really change that much in terms of meta for a while, but, you know, I'm a Protoss player, so I like seeing how sparkly they get and how cool they get. So, yeah. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching this